All right. Better late than never. I think this is broadcasting. I really don't know, to tell you the truth, because nothing's working right tonight. We were having some technical difficulties, and that's why we're so late. Should have got this thing started at 9 o'clock, and unfortunately, technology doesn't always wanna. Oh, here we go. Okay, we are streaming. Cool, cool, cool. All right. And there's probably a huge delay, but it's all good. But anyway, welcome to the show. Tonight's going to be a short show, actually. I just kind of quickly want to go over this past week's events. Michelle Obama gave an awesome speech at the DNC a few nights ago. Definitely the absolute best of all the speakers during the event. Damn near had me feeling like she was actually running for president. And if she did, she would probably win by a landslide, no doubt. But Kamala's doing great. Kamala's speech was awesome as well. That closed out the convention. And I was very impressed with her presentation. And don't get me wrong, because I was one of the the skeptical ones about Kamala when she first ran for president, and but was very happy when Joe Biden selected her as vice president, because he definitely put her in position to prepare for this very moment that we're in now. But I think Kamala's going to be a great president. And I say that because I believe Kamala's going to win. And I think she's going to be the first one in history to really bring some change to this country. I don't care, what y'all uninformed people have to say about her. Do your research. Do your real, true research on her and find out what she's really about. She has done some very good things in her career. She's more than qualified to be president, and it's about damn time that we have a female president, a woman president, especially a black woman president, represent America, not just black folks. So that's one of the things I hate every time I get out in the hood and I hear other black folks saying, well, what's she going to do for the black community? The black community is not America. The black community is a part of America. She has to be president for all Americans, and she has to perform to the best of her ability for all Americans. You can't just focus on one group. And a lot of you know my history, as far as how I feel about the black community. I love being black or brown, because I'm not actually black. My shirt is black. My skin is brown. So let's first, call it like it is. We're brown, okay? And all people, believe it or not, are just different shades of brown. Even so-called white people, they're the lightest shade of brown, really. The only ones that aren't brown are albinos. And we know, because they have no pigmentation, so they can't help it. They are what they are because they were born that way. And they are people too. They are Americans just as well as anyone else here. Brown, black, white, whatever you want to call it, But I'm very impressed so far with Kamala Harris and her vice presidential pick, her running mate pick. I think he was a, I think he was a great pick as well. And I know a lot of you out there, again, are saying, "Oh well, just another old white man, who quite possibly could take over one day." Yeah, and that's very true. That's very true. But from what I can tell so far, he seems to be a good man. Doesn't matter what color really a person is. If they're good people, they're just good damn people. Um, but anyway, like I was talking about, Michelle Obama's speech, I got a little bit of it here. I actually just picked out a small portion, which I know probably all of you saw by now. I hope you have. But I think she really brought it home with just this section. I mean, the entire speech was awesome, no doubt. But just this little piece is where I think, Michelle Obama really hit it on the head. So let's check it out. Let's check it out. Happen to be black, highly successful, highly educated. But here's the kicker. That was it. That was it. That was it. She hit the nail right on the head with that, for sure. Who's going to tell him? Who's going to tell him? Because this country, although we had Barack Obama uh, as the first black president, and I don't care what you say about him, he was a very good president, in my opinion. My opinion. You may not share that opinion, and that's okay. See, that's what makes America what it is. I'm not going to say America's great because we're not at that point yet. We're still a work in progress. We got a long way to go before we reach true greatness. But I think we're closer now than ever. Even with the divisiveness and all of the chaos that Donald Trump has caused and the MAGA freaks have caused, I think America now is closer to greatness than it's ever been. I think right now, with the Kamala Walls campaign doing as well as it is, and again, I believe they're going to win. I believe they are the change agents for real. I believe they are the ones that's going to really take us over the top and bring everybody here in America into true enlightenment. Now, call me, an optimist. That's what I am. I'm very optimistic about the future of this country. Um, I guess you could call me a patriot. I love this country. This is where I was born. This is where I was raised. Um, and I'm not going to deny I love my country. You know what I'm saying? The history has not always been uh, the best it could be. We have a horrible history, but we also have a very colorful history, um, a very epic history in this country. Um, it's funny how a lot of the things that are at the top of mind for this upcoming election is really how this country got started. It's funny that the Republicans are so against immigrants, but that's how this country got started. Everybody immigrated here at one point or another in history. Even the natives, they immigrated from somewhere else, but they were here first. They were here before the Europeans, for sure. And it used to be a time that it was finders keepers, you know. But Europeans came here. They weren't invited. They just showed up on Plymouth Rock. Nobody said, "Hey, we know y'all don't like that king over there in England. Come on over, and we'll take you in." No, they just showed up. And basically took everything, Wasn't Africans. Even though there's a lot of archaeological evidence to show that Africans probably made it here long before Europeans. But they didn't take over. The natives that were here already, the Indians, they had their nations established. Different tribes, claimed different parts of the country. It was their land. And it's funny that the Europeans arrived here, called them heathens, forced them off their lands, committed crazy atrocities against the Native Americans. And it raped, murdered, pillaged, stole everything. And now it's the ancestors of those very people that are here now talking about we have to stop the immigrants from coming to America because they're poisoning the blood of our nation in this bullshit. Knock it off. Knock it off. Your ancestors, Mr. Trump, were the first illegal aliens. They were. They were the first illegal aliens. All of you of European descent, your ancestors were the first illegal aliens. Primarily the British, because it was them that established the colonies, the original 13 colonies, and then the Spaniards came and the Portuguese and the world powers at that time, were all chopping up this land for their own. The French, large parts of this country used to belong to Mexico. And Europeans stole that. They claim they purchased it, but they stole it. Some was taken after war. So, we have a very brutal history in this country, and we've come a long way, but we're still not quite at the finish line yet. And we may never reach the finish line, but we have to keep this experiment going. We have to keep this work in progress working and in progress. And I think Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are going to be the next leaders that will take us closer to that, final result of what this whole American experiment was supposed to be. As for the black community, listen, knock it off. We have to save ourselves. Nobody's coming to save us. The black community is its own worst enemy now. There was a time, when racism and oppression, was definitely obvious, was obviously holding black folks down. But you can't use that excuse anymore. You can't. A couple years back, I did a video on the Willie Lynch letter. I think that should be required reading for all Black Americans, because that letter is kind of like Project 2025. It was a plan put into effect by the white slavers from back in the day to be able to control their slaves for the next 1,000 years. And it's working. It's still working. Black folks in America are more harmful to self than anybody else. Now, if we all come together as we should as a community and work together and uplift each other, not hold each other down. I don't want you holding me down, my brother. Don't hold me down. If you can't lift me up, I don't want to be involved with you. But if we all came together as a true community, we would be unstoppable in this country. We really would be. But for some reason, Black folks just can't get it together. And I hear all these black activists out here talking about the white man this, the white man that, and I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. We got to stop blaming white people. We have to stop blaming everybody else for our current condition. We know what the problem is, and only we can fix it. We have to pool our resources together and and that's our financial resources. We have to pool our educational resource together, and we have to come up with the solution to the Black problem in America. We can't count on anybody else to do it for us. When you look at all the other groups here, the Asian groups, they take care of each other. White folks definitely take care of each other. You know, Latinos take care of each other. And that's not to say that they're perfect either, because they got problems as well. You know, they got, crime problems within their communities, and they got deviants and perverts and criminals as well. But if you look across this country, you're going to find that it's Black folks, Black Americans, that are openly at war amongst each other in our communities. This gangbanging culture, is perpetuating total failure of the community. And the Black community tolerates it. But yet when one of these animals gets beat down by the cops, first thing they want to do is get out and protest and burn down the neighborhood and riot and act like a goddamn fool, when, quite honestly, I have no sympathy for these fools when they get what karma brings to them. I don't. They're destroying our community. I used to mentor some young boys a few years back, and in talking to them, I realized that these kids are crazy. I used to ask them all the time. I said, you're always talking to me about, the cracker this and cracker that, but you're doing all your dirt in your own community. You're shooting up your own community. You're killing people that look just like you. Killing people that look like me. But you're always talking about your enemy is the cracker. And please, what my white friends out there, don't take it personal. But if you do, you know what? I don't care. If you take it personal, then you might be part of the problem as well. But here's the issue. What I'm saying is, Black folks, we have to lift ourselves up out of this situation that we're in. Nobody's going to do it for us. But until we start taking ownership, and until we start holding those accountable, for destroying our communities, and holding ourselves accountable for not doing anything about it, within our communities, we can't blame anybody else. We really can't. But back to the message at hand. Election time is coming up. November, get out, vote, because your vote really does matter. A lot of you don't believe it does. And I hear so many people say, man, my one vote don't mean nothing. Your vote means everything. If your vote didn't matter, think about this. If your vote didn't matter, why would the Republicans be fighting so hard to limit your right to vote, and the Democrats fighting so hard to acquire your vote? And I hear so many of our people in our community saying, yeah, the Democrats, are trying to keep us in slavery, and they've just been using us to get votes all these years and have never done anything for the community, which goes back to what I was saying earlier. The black community has to do something for the black community. We can't count on politicians to come in and solve our problems. We have to solve our problems. But if you're going to vote for somebody like Donald Trump, who absolutely doesn't give a damn about you, I can't even understand how anybody blue collar could even support somebody like Donald Trump. I grew up in New Jersey, close to New York, very familiar with the Trump organization and the things they've done, because they affected a lot of the communities that I grew up around. Not letting black folks into their properties, charging ridiculous amounts of rent, to keep certain groups out. The Trump organization is evil. It always has been. The Trump family doesn't care about anybody but the Trumps. Donald Trump, the only reason he wants to get back in the White House is so he can stay out of prison. Because, mark my word, if Kamala wins, Donald Trump's ass is going to prison where he needs to be. He needs to be in a nice, cozy, cold, uncomfortable prison cell. Because you people out here supporting Donald Trump, I don't understand how you can in the first place. After all of the documented bullshit that's out here, the bullshit that comes out of his mouth, the lies, the grift is huge. This guy has been grifting off the public his entire life. He has never been you. He's never been me. Donald Trump still believes believes that you have to show ID to buy a loaf of bread. Just last week, he said you can't even walk across the street without getting shot, raped, or mugged. I'm like, and he says, I've seen it. Motherfucker, you haven't seen anything happening on the streets because you've never been on the streets. And and if you have seen it, it had to be one of them movies you were watching. But out here in the real world, Mr. Trump, it's not all the doom and gloom that you claim it is. And for you people that are believing this bullshit, Kamala Harris said it right the other night. Y'all are out of your minds. What is it that makes people support a 34-time convicted felon? And those aren't made-up charges. He was convicted of fraud that he admitted to. Said he was just smart. He was smart enough to just get his ass finally caught. He was convicted of being basically a sexual deviant. I'm not going to say rape because he wasn't convicted of rape, but he was convicted of sexual assault. And what's funny is they showed this man a picture of E. Jean Carroll, asked him who it was, and he said that it was his wife at the time, Marla. Oh, yeah, that's Marla. Motherfucker, you don't know who your wife is? Really? You didn't know who your wife was? Are you kidding me? And then he calls the other lady, the porn star. I forget her name, but he calls her horseface. That's not my type. Come on, dude. Who are you fooling? Who do you think you're fooling? Well, you're obviously fooling millions of people because you got a lot of suckers out here kissing your ass and worshiping at your altar, and I just don't understand that. I don't understand. And for all you out there that want to say Kamala doesn't doesn't do anything for black folks, or she hates the community, or this, that, or the other. Kamala came from the same place we all did, from a working class family. I mean, she was raised by a single mother. You know what I'm saying? Took her ass to college, got educated, worked her way up, became a prosecutor. And they try to say, oh, well, she was a DEI hire. She wasn't a DEI hire. She was elected to those positions. She won elections. The people voted her into those positions as prosecutor and DA and attorney general. She wasn't hired. Well, she was hired. She was hired by the people that voted for her. So where do y'all come up with this bullshit, as if she slept her way to the top and she cheated her way to get to her positions? And are you people serious? And you actually believe Donald Trump cares about you? Donald Trump has never walked an inch in your shoes. And as veterans, the veterans that are supporting Trump, what the hell is wrong with you? This man called us suckers and losers. I'm not a John McCain fan, but John McCain was a war hero. This man was shot down over Vietnam, served 5 years in the Hanoi Hilton, one of the most brutal prisons ever. He actually had the opportunity to be released, but he had to denounce America, and he refused to denounce America, number one, and he refused to leave behind any other American prisoners of war. He said he would not allow himself to be released until all of the known U.S. POWs were released as well. That man's a hero. That man's a true patriot. He was, R.I.P. Then we got J.D. Vance, who wants to talk shit about Tim Walz because Tim Walz made a misstatement about his military career, his 24-year military career. And JD, I give you credit. You served 4 years in the Marine Corps. Hoorah. You know what I'm saying? I give all veterans respect. All veterans deserve respect because we all volunteered. We volunteered to serve. However, Mr. Vance, let's keep it real. Yeah, you deployed to Iraq, but you weren't a grunt. You weren't a grunt. You were a non-combat journalist. So let's keep it real, bro. You were a non-combat journalist. And for you to say that Tim Walz ducked out because he retired before his unit was deployed to Iraq, the man served 24 years. He was entitled to retire. He was entitled to retire at 20 years. But he stayed 4 more years beyond retirement before he decided to get out. And then he got out not because he wanted to leave the military. He got out so that he could later go serve in Congress. So he continued to serve the country. And after serving in Congress, he became governor of his state of Minnesota. So knock it off with the bullshit. Y'all trying to discredit this man. In my opinion, this man is a hero too. Definitely. Anybody can do 24 years in uniform gets my respect all day. Anybody does 1 year in uniform, I don't care. You volunteered, you did your thing. As long as you got out honorably, you're a hero. But don't discredit any veteran because they misspoke about something, especially when your record can't stand side by side with their record. Because you got your head so far up Donald Trump's ass, who happens to be a 5-time draft dodging coward. And we'll call him Cadet Bone Spurs. 5 times he dodged the draft. Coward. Donald Trump has never served this country in any way, shape, or form. And with that, I'm going to close this out with this one video here. It's one of the latest ads from the Democratic. I believe the DNC created this ad, but we're gonna check it out, and then we're gonna sign off.
In the criminal justice system, the people are represented by 2 separate yet equally important groups: the police who investigate crime, and the district attorneys who prosecute the offenders. This is the story of Donald Trump. His entire life, Trump has believed he's above the law, that no one would ever dare hold him accountable. He lies, he rips off workers, he sexually abuses women.
Hey, when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
He cheats in business. He cheated on his wife with a porn star and paid her off so the American people wouldn't find out during an election. But in the criminal justice system, ordinary Americans have had the courage to find him accountable, time and time again.
Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty. Donald Trump guilty on all 34 felony counts.
For the first time in history, we have a convicted felon running for president. And to take on this case, we need a president who has spent her life prosecuting perpetrators like Donald Trump. He tried overturning Georgia's free and fair election.
I just want to find 11,780 votes.
He's tried to escape any responsibility for instigating the January 6th attack on our Capitol.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you.
And if elected, Trump has promised to overturn laws that would keep him accountable and exact retribution on anyone he considers an enemy, even warning of a bloodbath if he doesn't get his way. So we, the people, have a chance to render our own verdict on Donald Trump. We are the jury he most fears. When we vote this November, we vote for justice, accountability, and the rule of law that keeps America free.
All right. And with that, I will catch you all next Sunday right here, Crazy Baby TV World on YouTube. And if you haven't, take a visit to the website, www.crazybabytvworld.com. Check us out. You don't have to sign in. You don't have to give your name or your information. I don't capture anything like that, and I'm not trying to sell you nothing. Just want you to come check us out, leave a comment, and if you happen to like this video, give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Either way lets me know if you're enjoying my content or if you're not. But if you happen to like it, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and don't miss the next episode right here, Crazy Baby TV World. I